Why am I in this lovely part of Massachusetts today? Well, as my favorite Garfield video begins, yellow and orange skies filled with magic butterflies. No, the sky isn't orange, it's quite blue, and the grass is very, very green. However, some years ago I did have the unbelievable luck to encounter a magic butterfly. Sorry that the stories have been a little bit few and far between. I intended to have more stories out by now, but I had to spend the summer being responsible and being a grown-up. I had one thing after another come up, so I will begin my stories again. The other thing I do want to say is I assure you that the stories are true. Sadly, I did not have an iPhone back then when I had the encounter with the magic butterfly because they hadn't been invented yet. And I would have loved nothing more than to have actually captured this unbelievable phenomena on film. So what you're going to have to do is just trust me that I am telling the truth on this and suspend your disbelief and listen to a very, very interesting story. Some years ago, I lost someone who was very, very dear to me. And this place that I'm at, I don't think I should mention the name, really means a lot to me. I would come here when I'm happy. I come here when I'm sad. I always feel better when I'm close to nature. This particular place has always reminded me of my beloved England. And I just would come here to be alone with my thoughts. When I come here, I don't know if I can mention names or not. There are two songs that always pop into my head. I don't think I can get in any trouble saying the names, so you can have it as your soundtrack in your own mind. When I walk around here, I always kind of hum to myself, Dear Prudence, and a wonderful, wonderful Bread song that has that same kind of wonderful hoppy bass line in it called Could I by Jimmy Griffin and Rob Royer. Well, anyway, now that I've given you a soundtrack and now that I've given you a basic little idea, we shall continue on. After my dear, dear person in my life had passed away, I would come here to be by myself. And one day, in a beautiful, beautiful day in September, part that I'm showing you now is where it actually had happened. And that particular year, there was a cornfield toward there, and if you look back here, there was a pumpkin patch. Well, I was walking along this beautiful aqueduct, minding my own business, and all of a sudden, this actually took place, I should give you a timeline, for almost about a month, I would say, September into October, and still it started getting a wee bit cold. I was walking along here, and right out there, right in this exact area of the field, all of a sudden a butterfly came up, and it was beautiful, beautiful, a yellow and black swallowtail. And it kept flying, and it kept flying, and it flew up over the aqueduct, and it started fluttering around me. Okay, well, that's very interesting in and of itself and quite beautiful. But as I walked along down toward the end of the aqueduct, which I don't know if you can tell, it's where those trees are, it goes all the way down to there, the butterfly actually followed me. And follow me it did. And I turned around, and it followed me still, and it followed me until I got back to where it first came over the aqueduct, and it flew down in the field. Well, I kept coming here, and the same thing would happen over and over again. So finally, to test it out, I did two things. I started coming every single day, and every single day it flew over from that part of the field. I was so incredibly gobsmacked, I'll walk along just so you can enjoy the beauty of this area, that I actually said, I have to have a witness. So I took my mom with me, and sure enough, I said, oh God, is it going to be like when you go to a doctor and you have an ache somewhere and you show up there and it's gone? No, the butterfly came, and the butterfly did something even more amazing than I ever could have imagined. This time it followed us. This time I got it to come in the car with us, and it drove and it fluttered all the way back from here to my home. And as soon as I got home, I said, oh, well, when I open the door, it will fly out, I'll let it free, and it will live in my garden. It did not want to stay in my garden. It rode in the car home with us, and as soon as I opened the door, bang, it headed due west, because this is actually where I am, is northwest of where I live. Headed due west, and my mom and I both said, it's probably heading back to his place in Callahan Park, but he had a long flight. He should have just gone back down the aqueduct. So that is my story about the magic butterfly. I'm really curious to get feedback on that, because you know, a lot of times the unseen will happen, noises or phantom scents or, you know, precognition. But this was actually a living creature, a butterfly, a gorgeous butterfly who had some sense of intelligence. I don't know if it's an imprint, but why did this particular beautiful swallowtail imprint on me? That for a whole month, about a month, almost every day, it would follow me. I loved that butterfly. I wonder where it headed off to. I wonder, you know, how many more months it lived, what its lifespan was. But I thank that beautiful little critter for making my life very magical at a time that I was very, very sad.